Hello, Sarah.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. How are you doing? Where are you coming from? You're coming from a different location. What hotel is
that? It's casa of my grandmother. No, it is. I'm in Allentown, Pennsylvania. For those that have been following me for some time, they probably recognize this background because I stayed here for a little bit during the pandemic. And I actually did a lot of videos from this room, which is clearly not designed for today's audience.
That's all right. I know that your grandma's happy there. Didn't you tell me it was her birthday? Is that her birthday?
It is my grandmother's 97th birthday. So here's a reminder. If you've got grandparents, parents, do whatever you can to make a point to see them when they hit these birthdays. Because, man.
It's great.
Yeah.
So we said, how old is she going to be?
97.
97. Let's give her a happy birthday, listeners and viewers. Put a little happy birthday message in here. She deserves it. What do we call her? Nana? Grandma?
I call her grandma, but she now goes by Gigi because she has grandchildren. But I don't participate in that.
You're not the great grandchild. So that's only, you have to be a certain rank to call it that.
Totally. But then I was in New York this past weekend, and I'm in New York this next weekend. So, but you had some exciting stuff going on.
I had some fun stuff going on. I got I don't know, call it jet set, train set around Florida. So I stayed at my good friend Michael's hotel, the Marriott Stanton in South Beach. If you're looking for a nice hotel in South Beach, right in the South of 5th neighborhood, it is a sneaky good hotel called the Marriott Stanton. Make sure to check it out. We stayed there for my dad's birthday. And then, it was a great time on the beach. So if you saw me out there, we were definitely enjoying the sands of South Beach over the weekend. And then on Sunday, we surprised my kids. They thought they were just going home, and we got on the Brightline train straight from the hotel, Brightline train into Orlando. Stayed at the Signia by Hilton, which I have a lot to say about that versus a Disney hotel. And then we went to the Disney park the next day. Which was awesome. So Disney always does a great job. So my brother came along, my parents, my kids. It was an awesome, awesome time at the Hollywood Studios. So I'm happy to chat Hollywood Studios or Disney or Lightning Lanes with anybody if they need any advice. So,
I should have talked to you 2 weeks ago when I had a client ask me about this. But I will say this. I feel like Disney does a good job of making sure, like they do a good job of managing crowds.
Yes.
That there are multiple ways that you don't go and you waste your entire day waiting. Yes, there's going to be long waits at here, but you can kind of construct the day. And I think they do a really good job about that.
They do a great job. As long as you know how to do it, you do have to pay in to use Lightning Lanes. And if you don't want to wait in any lines, you pay for their Premier Pass, but that's double the price of a ticket. So an example, a normal ticket, I think, was $179 per person. And if you want that Premier Pass, you have to pay an extra $298 on top of your $179 if you don't want to wait in lines. But if you just want to manage the lines on an app, you pay $23 and you go about your day.
But this is what I found, because I've done experiences where I didn't have to wait and I could just go on ride after ride. And maybe because I'm older, but I realized it's actually kind of nice to have that downtime in between rides, because if you're going from one to another, it's it's stimulating. People can get
Sarah,
sick.
you have to come with me. I plan the day very nicely. It's a nice cadence. You always break it up in the middle of the day with an air-conditioned lunch venue that's served. You don't stand in line. You got to save up and pay for these things. But we have a nice cadence to the day in the park. So
your kids are just... They're living the fine life,
perfect cadence of the way through a Disney day. I can make sure you have a great time.
It reminds me of when you told me you went to the beach and your daughter's like, "Where's our server?" And you're like, "Oh, we need to
change this up." Yeah, the cabana on the beach is not how they go to the beach every time. So listeners, that's a different story for a different time. Listen, we get nice things because we worked in hotels and people want to take care of us. And I'm always happy to share that with my kids, but they also have to see what it's like before you can get all those perks. You really got to understand what it's like. So they get a nice mix of both.
It's too funny. Oh my gosh. I just had to do a nice air-conditioned lunch. I can't even
may have had a mojito or two at my Disney lunch before we head back out there to
You had a mojito.
Yeah, it was nice. A nice little break.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Haven't had one in a long time, but they sold me.
Ooh.
But always a good time. So good hotel, Signia Hotel. It was actually one of our Whose Brand Is It Anyways, and I hadn't stayed, but it was a great hotel to stay.
Oh yeah, quickly tell us about that hotel. What's the quick nutshell version?
So I would say upscale 4-star resort. It's connected to the Waldorf Astoria through the banquet areas. So really, if you don't want to stay at the Waldorf and pay all of the extra money, you stay next door to Signia, which is about half price, but the same facilities. And their pool is better because you have a lazy river, hot tubs, slide, all the fun things for kids. But they have a great bar, great restaurants. Everyone was ultra nice there. Everyone very helpful. They do have transportation to Disney parks because it is a Disney affiliated hotel, but it doesn't take you directly to it. So I've got a whole breakdown of that. I may write a little blog post about it.
I think you should.
I think I should. The difference between an official deluxe resort and you could become a Disney blogger. Those people make a lot of money. I know, but I don't know if I could be there all the time.
No, you don't have to be there all the time. It's just you share your tips.
All right. Hospitality Mentor podcast episode on my other podcast. I'll do one just Disney.
I'm not even joking. I know it sounds really silly, but I have friends of mine who that is a good part of their content, and that part of their content does exceptionally well. So,
all right, I'm going to take that tip. I'll record one this week, but I got to tell you something else about this.
Tell me.
This episode is brought to you by StayFi. StayFi helps short-term rental operators build direct guest relationships through branded Wi-Fi portals, email marketing, and guest data tools that turn one-time bookers into repeat guests. So start growing your direct booking revenue today at stayfi.com/Good Morning Hospitality. And that's stayfi.com/Good Morning Hospitality. Gotta get that one in there for us. Thank you, StayFi, for being a sponsor.
Love that. Thank you. That was great.
So should we get into a show today? I'm sure people are done.
Yes, let's get into our show. I guess we're still. All right. So first topic here, CitizenM, 1 year later, learning to love Marriott audits. 1 year after Marriott paid $355 million for CitizenM, 50% of CitizenM's occupancy now comes from Marriott Bonvoy members across the portfolio. We've talked about this before. Yeah. So I think you did it. By the way, I'm a big fan.
We love CitizenM. You and I have podcasted from a CitizenM hotel. You've stayed in a CitizenM hotel. And as we talk about it, I want to first give a shout out to Dahlia. I see you commenting here. Thanks for watching the show. Lou, appreciate the highlight of your day is my ad reads. I'm going to take that every day.
Ooh, Lou.
So we talk about CitizenM hotel here. And like Sarah said, they paid $355 million. Marriott did for CitizenM. And what's happened now, we're starting to see the power of the Marriott Bonvoy app and their 300 plus million members. All of a sudden now, 50% of CitizenM's hotels occupancy now comes from Marriott Bonvoy members across their portfolio, which is an incredible number. So half of their guests now are Marriott Bonvoy members. And they're saying that's just like a cherry on the top. It didn't cannibalize what they had before. So it kind of makes me think, like, what was their business model before? Like, how well were they actually doing? Yeah, they're getting this much that are a cherry on top. But it also shows that the previous owners are still the franchisee of this now, right? So they don't own the brand anymore, but they still are operating the hotels, and they had to get into Marriott's standards and understand and get audited. And their CEO, Mr. DeJong, was saying, who are you guys to audit us? We created this brand, but now he comes to find that he likes it a lot because the Marriott Bonvoy app brings in Marriott members. They have to meet certain standards. They have to answer the phone a certain way. They have to have certain things on their property. And he now comes to enjoy these audits because it shows his team like what they need to do and holds them accountable. So every month he gets a nice report showing how well his team is doing across those properties. But now they want to build even more places because CitizenM is doing so well within Marriott. They are looking at more and more locations. I think they did one in Georgetown in DC, right where you went to school.
Yeah.
They're looking in Dublin, Ireland, now London. They've got a lot of places coming up. But I mean, what do you think of CitizenM? You've stayed there. I've actually hung out in the lobbies. I've never stayed overnight.
I'm a fan. But look, I think I'd have a hard time sharing that room with somebody. I think it's definitely, it's great if it's just yourself and you're there for a work trip. Maybe you don't have that much, like maybe you're not necessarily having that much time in the room. I mean, really the room is a bed. Like it's the bed up against the window. But I like the different features. Like there's cool like lighting that you can play with the lighting. You can turn the color of the lights in the room and like the shower area to pretty much whatever color you'd like. It's comfortable. I like that they have the bed right up against the window. That to me is kind of cool. But I'm a fan. I always do find it interesting because they talk about, oh, well, we don't have a front desk. And so you do check in yourself, but there's always a front desk attendant. And I always just find that so funny because it's like, I get it. You might just have one attendant versus like having 3 front desk employees checking in people. But half the time they have to help check people in anyway. And that's not just CitizenM, by the way. That's any hotel that runs it like this. But I always am just like, really?
Yeah, look, they thought Marriott may change some things, but Marriott's like, no, we like CitizenM for what it is. We're keeping the business model intact. We don't want a front desk. Like you said, they kind of have a front desk. Kiosk check-in is the model that they like.
Yeah.
AI handling most of the guest inquiries. But what changed for them is where their energy goes, is what they're saying. Is that before the deal, the owners was spending heavily on business model innovation and customer acquisition, getting guests to come learn about CitizenM, come be at the property, really spending a lot of money on marketing.
Now they get that visibility.
Yeah, Marriott handles distribution, and focus has shifted entirely to the guest experience to make sure all that spending that was going to marketing, they can now use and spend it on the guest experience to enhance it. So, it's really interesting to see because we talk about how many things that these companies, Marriott's and Hilton's and Hyatt's, they acquire these companies. And this is a big sign. It shows if you can really do it the right way and you have a product people like, it really is a giant boost because those are expensive bookings. Like those owners still have to pay for those every time one of those Marriott Bonvoy people stay. Like it's not just, oh, we just got extra people. Like you're paying a fee to Marriott for that.
And we've talked about this before, and I was even just thinking about it because when I was looking at places to stay in New York, and I had I had a little bit of a struggle because I want to get like a certain number of Marriott nights so that I can like hit my whatever status for next year. So I was like, okay, well, this would be good because I could at least get like 3 more nights and I would go towards that. But the hotel I was looking at was fine, mediocre, fantastic.
We got a phone ringing?
We got a phone ringing. Sorry. My aunt is calling one of my other aunts. Anyway.
A landline in the grandma's house. I love it.
Totally. But I really liked this Kimpton hotel and it was a really great rate and it was brand new. And I love staying at like brand new hotels because it's just cool to see what they're doing. And I'm part of like the rewards program with IHG, but I don't stay at that many. So I was like hemming and hawing, like, do I stay at the hotel I really want to stay at? Or do I stay at one that I'm not as excited about staying at, but it would like get me closer to having some sort of status. So again, and I wouldn't have necessarily discovered that other hotel if it weren't for going through like the bigger umbrella of the hotel brand. So it is very interesting as far they absolutely.
Hold on. So where did you stay at this story?
I ended up staying at the Kimpton Era Hotel in Midtown. It was fantastic.
All right. So you didn't use the Marriott. The pool almost got you to use the points, but you stayed at the place that you thought
I ended up doing that. Yeah, just because it was like nice and cool. It was just cool. It was great. And there's nothing wrong with Marriott. And I will say this because I was actually looking at a Courtyard Marriott. And the Courtyard Marriotts in New York City are actually really nice. And I do, as a brand, I think a lot of people will think, oh, Courtyard, but we're thinking about the Courtyard Marriott from over 10 years ago. They rebranded in 2018 and just what they are now in general. I mean, it's a perfectly fine product if you're staying for business day. So, but
Paul Manzi's saying about the physical front desk, he's saying a physical front desk does not improve the hospitality experience, is what he's thinking. Lonnie Wolf, good to see you. Hello. Welcome to the show. So we've got a lot going on at Marriott's world, but they continue to do a good job. So we'll keep an eye on what they continue to do and where they continue to grow. CitizenM, we're fans.
We are.
Podcast some more when we get
By the way, if it would have been a CitizenM, I would have stuck with it and stayed, but there wasn't one that made sense for me. So just saying.
All right, CitizenM. Sarah needs more locations in New York. Okay, let's make this happen.
I do. Why don't we go into our next little sponsor here? Would you like to read it, sir, or should I read it?
Listen, Sarah, before we move on, okay, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Built. They're helping restaurants and hotel F&B teams better understand their guests and create more personalized experiences that drive repeat visits. If you care about loyalty and guest experience, it's worth checking out. Head to joinbuilt.com/GMH, and that's joinbuilt.com/GMH. And now, back to the show.
Whoa, that dramatic read right there. Love it. This is great. Actually, funny because we were just talking about Marriott, and then I also mentioned IHG. This goes into our next topic here. IHG joins Hilton and Marriott with AI search. This is cool. So obviously we've talked about before how Marriott and IHG have been sort of leading the charge with the AI search options.
Yes.
And IHG is now basically in on it. They've launched a conversational search on its US site and app. And what's cool is just because it's more conversational. So instead of I want 2 nights in this destination, etc., it's like, we're going to be a family of 4 going to Orlando, and we're looking for this type of style, which is great. I mean, we're just going to continue to see more and more of that. But
one detail that stands out about them is that IHG users can shop in points, cash, or a combination inside the chat, which is interesting. So like when Marriott launched Ask Bonvoy, said point-based searches would be supported over time. IHG launched it when it's already working already. So they were working on this. We talked about IHG. They've been like 8 years in advance. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, like working on their, new tech stack. They had been building it from scratch so they could be ready for AI. So now it's finally starting to jump ahead some others, it looks like.
Totally.
And really, if you haven't tried it yet, it's going to be rolled out to different users. You're not going to be able to kind of like get in there. They're testing it out randomly, it sounds like, as a beta version, but you start just talking to like a normal human. I don't know if you've been doing that at all, Sarah, with all the new models coming out with like ChatGPT's voice one, Claude. I know a lot of people use. I started messing around with Gemini because it's connected to everything I use in, Gmail and Google. And it's like, wow, this is, everything about me from scanning all my emails in my calendar. And it's
I need to
pretty
play
wild
on Gemini
to see what's going on out there in the world. And it just seems to get faster and faster. But we see it now. Like, I'm sure you use Amazon. Most of us use Amazon.
Yes.
They have Rufus. Rufus is their AI, and that's pretty wild to see. It understands me based on what I've searched for and what I bought and suggests certain things. And it seems like that pace is picking up. I don't know what you feel like when you're using tech now for travel or just your regular day-to-day, but you book a lot of travel. Are you starting to see more and more of it infiltrating different platforms as you book other people's trips?
Yes and no. I mean, my clients are very tech savvy. Most of my clients are very tech savvy. And so we almost like use chat and Claude together, where it's like they'll very clearly use it. Then they'll be like, hey, like double check this based off of that. And what do you think? So it's like, it's very interesting that it's like they're not using it to replace me. They might use it for a starting point. And then we have like open conversations like, hey, can you check it out? Can you do this? So, and then I also use it at times because sometimes like I don't know all of the restaurants in a specific city or a specific area. So I'll be like, okay, we like this based off of this. What else do you suggest? And then I can go through and like really kind of fine tune. So it's very helpful for me in a lot of different ways. I mean, that's just one minor way of doing it. But yeah, it's changing rapidly.
It's going very fast. So hotels, everyone's abusing, but it's going to be part of our daily life. I'm just curious to see, again, They want people in their world. ISG, Hilton, Marriott, they want people on their apps, using their apps, speaking within it. But I don't think that's people's first reaction of what to do, right? I'm going to use the AI that's on my phone. Siri is getting smarter on the Apple phone. I'm not sure what Android uses. So everyone's kind of doing their searches. Like I watched my mom and dad, who are the same age, search in complete different ways while we were on the trip, which is very interesting. My dad, an attorney, and my mom, who's
okay. So how are they searching?
Housewife. My mom just talking to Siri or typing it in, and my dad using AI sometimes, using Google, verifying in different ways. And then my brother was there too, using his Meta glasses, asking Meta AI, like how to start doing things while we're there. So it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It
is. So we'll see what happens as they continue to. But I think it's good for hotels. Meet people where they're at. Hey, I'm traveling with 5 people. I need 2 beds with a view of X, Y, or Z. What do you have available for me at this price point? I think if you can have things like that and it pops up, that's great.
Oh, totally. It's interesting. So kind of quickly going back to this was kind of an interesting part of it. Right now, even though we've got these hotel groups that are implementing more AI into their apps and their sites, they don't have yet like the number of travelers, visitors to their sites that are using these actual tools. But it was interestingly enough, retailers are ahead of it. So I know that you obviously were mentioning Amazon this, like Walmart says roughly half of its app users have tried their AI assistant Sparky. And then shoppers use it to build about their basket that use it. They spend about 35% more. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah. I think so too. If you have somebody helping you along that's like supporting things that you want, like I'm about to get a doggy, our first puppy, and now everything being shown to me on every single app is about doggies. So
of course it knows.
But Dolly asked a question, one thing, why do I like Gemini? I haven't used it enough yet, but what I've realized is that Gemini is part of Google. It's connected to YouTube, so it has all of YouTube's history, all the videos, all the transcripts from those things it's learning from. And it's also, I use Gmail and Google Office, and it's connected to everything I've got. So it's already built into everything I have. So I haven't played enough with it yet, but I'll get back to you on a future episode. I'll let you know.
Yeah, it is interesting because it really is kind of like a combination of bouncing around.
I'm trying to figure out one that I can kind of use. I'm using ChatGPT right now for that. I've connected a lot of things to it, but I'm a little bit nervous to put it in full power because it's now saying, hey, you can connect finances to me and your health and X and this and that. I'm like, I don't know if I want all that yet. But
there's a lot of people who are doing it. Get there in time. Yeah, definitely interesting. All right, why don't we do one more topic? I think we got time for one more.
We got Southwest for sure.
Oh, you want to do that one or do you want to do travel and leisure? Well, we can
do both.
Okay, we'll touch quick.
Let's do quick.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Travel and Leisure's $343 million bet on timeshare consolidation. This was interesting. I actually covered this on the Skift Daily Briefing. So Travel and Leisure acquired Yes and Vacations and is there's also a pending purchase of Spinnaker Resorts for basically a combined deal of about $343 million upfront, and they're going to be adding more resorts. Now, what's interesting is this is timeshares, and it's like Travel and Leisure is getting into the timeshare business, and it's wild because it's not necessarily just a portfolio, but the timeshare business is a big business because it's basically a loan business.
It's a loan to get into the buildings that you have ownership of, they say, which you don't actually own. So I actually took this article. So listeners, I used AI for this one. I took this article. I said, explain this to me like I'm in 10th grade of why somebody would want to buy a timeshare, because it's not what I would like to do. Because when you buy into a timeshare, you're buying points. So an example, what Travel and Leisure likes is that they're getting 100,000 people that are doing a couple of revenue streams. One, if you're building a new building, Sarah and myself, we don't know each other. We pay $25,000. They take one unit. I'll give you the math quick. Here's a condo you could normally sell for $350,000. No, we're going to chop it up into little weeks that people can use as points. And we're going to sell that for $500,000. But most of the people buying don't have enough money to pay that $25,000. So they say, hey, we'll loan that to you at 14% interest, which is very high loan to give people. Correct. So they start making money on that loan. Also, if you own that sliver, you have to pay a fee for the condo to maintain like the staff that are there. So a lot of places make money on that fee. And then you have to use your points in certain locations that you can't use freely. So if you want to do a last minute trip and you didn't plan in advance, you can't get access to that place. So then you can't use your points. But who it's for is what I asked for. It's like, who would actually like this? It's for that traveler that likes consistency. They like having a kitchen and an apartment in the same place at the same resort within the same brand, and they book the same place every single year. Because there's a lot of places, people like that want to go to the same lake or the same mountain in the same exact place and not explore anywhere else. So that's who it's great for. So that's not me. I don't think that's you. It might be for some of you, but it is a hard thing to get into. And then if you do want to get out, it's very hard to get out because you sign contracts that are long-term.
I'd be curious how that ends up changing over the next 5 years or so, because I totally get that concept. And I do feel like that's a way people used to like to travel, like a bulk of people used to like to travel, like that consistency. Like you take the family every summer and you go stay here and there's that. And there is something to that, absolutely, for core memories. And it's like every year we did this with the family, which I love. But I'd be curious, do many people still want that? My gut is that pie is shrinking.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
It's interesting that, people are investing a lot of money into it. I know the business is growing. It does not shrink. It's a hard business to be in.
It isn't shrinking. I just find it curious that
it also forces people to take vacations, it was saying as well, right? Like you have to use these points or they go bad. So it's almost like going to the gym. Like, you pay for that gym counts on you not being there, right? Like that's what they count on. Yeah. That's the same kind of mentality. It's like,
yeah, of course.
They don't want you to be there because they can get more and more people in and they keep using your funds anyway that you're spending. So it's a hard model, but let's see what Travel and Leisure does, because they did it to get 100,000 the data for 100,000 people spending money, captive audience that they can grow their business on. So let's see what they do. I'm sure we'll talk about that again soon. But this one, I'm curious about you and what you think of Southwest.
Southwest Airlines, all big changes. Now they want to get into lounges. So their CEO gave, we're kind of like talking about this, and I mean, basically they're going into, doing lounges specifically with co-branded credit cards. And, I find this really fascinating because they've done a lot of significant changes with their business model in the past year, and they're doing better than ever, financially. It's like, okay, well, we're not like, now you get assigned seats. Now you don't get those 2 free. So all the things that were the elements of the brand that people loved, they flipped it and they kind of made it more like the traditional airline model. And they did well because they still have a lot of Southwest diehard fans that are still continuing to fly Southwest. And then they're like, we're just making even more money. It just makes sense financially, which obviously it makes sense financially. That's how other business also, it's a proven model. But I think what was curious to see was, would they be able to actually make that transition successfully? And they seem to be doing it. So
I think they saw the writing on the wall. I think they didn't want to end up like Spirit. And we're like, all right, we got to make some money here. And so they went traditional, and we learned, we've learned by doing this show, at least I have, is that airlines make all their money with those people in first class and business class and the people paying up for upgrades. And, if you're back in coach, that's why there's so many coach sections now, like the main cabin and this cabin, that one, this one, right? So that's how they're making their money and staying afloat. And I get it, but we talked about this once too. Like, I think the whole airport's gonna become its own separate lounges.
Totally. Well, it's interesting because I think about it. So, I don't, even though I have Amex and I can get, honestly, I feel like getting into an Amex lounge, it ends up being such a process that I don't really try to even get into Amex lounges. I'm not really fussed. I do the Delta lounges, but I have enough status that even if there is a line outside, I get to the front of the line. So
you're also a celebrity, so it's like Miss Dandashy.
No, but it's like, again, but I get it, because it's like more and more people want to have the lounge experience. But they are crowded.
Listen, and I did it the other day. If you're not there in the morning or the evening at Miami, it's hard to get into that lounge. And so
I do the Delta Lounge in Miami all the time. Love it. Easy.
Yeah, there's a 25-minute wait. I was standing outside the American Express Lounge, and I just turned around. I think it's a Fridays. You guys have to correct me if I'm wrong. Fridays or one of those. Like, I mean, that looks pretty good to grab a $10 beer and just sit there and people watch versus wait in this line. So
totally,
that's what I end up doing sometimes. But I will say we can talk a whole other show on the points because my American Express card paid for itself this week, just the fee by using it. So.
For sure. I mean, it can definitely pay for itself. That's absolutely it. But yeah, we'll see just how more of these lounges open. I mean, I fly out of the Las Vegas airport. I personally don't like any of the lounges there. So I now just get to the airport and walk on my flight because I have no desire to be there any
Which one is this? Which airport?
The Las Vegas airport. Because it's either slot machines or there's like a Capital One lounge. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's like people gambling right there.
It was you I saw. Yeah.
No. Anyway.
By the way,
why do we do our?
Can I tell one thing on slot machines? I know we're gonna go 2 minutes late here. Slot machines. If you're a slot machine fan, listen. I just talked to a casino. I can't say which casino, but somewhere in the country, they know they're never gonna lose. They make about $500 per day per machine. So if you think you're ever gonna win on those, you may win a little bit here and there, but they win every single day. So
they don't make sense to me. I don't even get it.
It's the hope that you're gonna be the big winner, but they do it very strategically. They're never going to lose. I learned the whole business. Now I want to open my own casino.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's the only business I know where you can't lose. Anyhow, we got to get into Lou's favorite, my favorite. Dahlia, you may love this one. Paul Manzi and all the other viewers that come here every single week for Whose Brand Is It Anyway? The game show where we show a sub-brand and we try to guess who is the parent?
No. Put it
NH Collection Hotels. Who owns NH Collection? Let's put that one back on the screen for 5 more seconds, Monica. Who owns the NH Collection? Let's just have the brand up there. No cheating, anybody. You've got 5 seconds to guess. I've got my guess in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going with Hilton.
I'm going with Accor.
Accor. Who do we got here today?
I don't remember.
Minor Hotels. We were way off.
That was my next one.
Minor Hotels owns NH Collection. See, but doesn't someone own Minor Hotel? It's just levels to this. It keeps going. But we got Jim Alderman is the winner today with Minor Hotels. Good job, Jim, getting that guess in there. Everyone else, way off. But my favorite part today, bad guesses today, as Lou says. I want to give a shout out to Monica, our producer backstage. Will's on vacation. Monica filling in very nicely. Thank you, Monica. Well, man, what a great show today. Love our great sponsors, Built and Stayify. Thanks for joining us. But we shared a lot of fun stuff today. And listeners, if you haven't yet, make sure to hit subscribe. It's always great to see our subscriber list growing. And of course, if you haven't yet, share this with a friend. Invite them to the party. We need some more players for our Whose Game Is It Anyway? We love playing this game with everyone. So listen, until next week, everyone.
Yes.
Stay
hospitable.